From a doctor who went missing in the mountains to a tourist in a foreign city, these are the chilling last photos of people before tragedy struck. A breathtaking photo of a bright, early morning sky marks the last memory of Dr. Deepa Sharma. This image captures her final moments before tragedy struck. Dr. Sharma, an Ayurvedic doctor from Jaipur, planned her trip to Himachal Pradesh to celebrate her 38th birthday. She shared her journey on Twitter, showcasing her love for nature. Her posts included stunning photos from her trip. Her last post depicted her of the last point of India where civilians are allowed. This location, 80 kilometers from the border with Tibet, was the subject of her final tweet. Shortly after this tweet, tragedy struck. Falling rocks from multiple landslides in Kinnaur district hit her vehicle, killing her and 8 other tourists. Dr. Sharma's brother, Mahesh Kumar Sharma, shared his grief on social media, highlighting her excitement for the trip and her recent purchases of a professional camera and smartphone to capture her adventure. The sudden loss of Dr. Sharma left many in shock. President Ram Nath Kovind, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and Himachal Pradesh Chief Minister Jai Ram Thakir offered their condolences. Prime Minister Modi announced an ex gratia of $2,500 for the families of the deceased and $625 for the injured. But this next photograph captures the innocence and youth of a 3-year-old boy, William Tyrell, playing in his Spider-Man suit, just moments before he vanished from his grandmother's yard. This image, filled with the bright, vibrant energy of childhood, is now a haunting reminder of his sudden disappearance on 12th September 2014 in Kendal, New South Wales, Australia. On that day, William was playing hide-and-seek with his sister in his grandmother's yard while his foster mother and grandmother watched. Around 10 a.m., his foster mother stepped inside to make a cup of tea. Within minutes, William vanished without a trace. His foster mother searched frantically around the house and yard. She called 000 emergency services at 10:57 a.m. By 11:06 a.m., the New South Wales police force arrived, beginning an extensive search that would capture national and international attention. Hundreds of police, state, emergency service numbers, and community volunteers scoured the area. They searched day and night using helicopters, detection dogs, and divers to explore every possible hiding place. Despite these efforts, they found no trace of William beyond the backyard boundaries. What could have happened to William during those few crucial minutes? The investigation, named Strike Force Roseanne, initially focused on the theory of abduction. 2 suspicious vehicles were seen near the Tyrell home on the morning of his disappearance. These cars, a white station wagon and an older-style gray sedan, were parked between driveways in a manner that seemed out of place. Although police searched for the drivers of these vehicles, they have not been located or identified. A reward of $1 million Australian dollars was offered for information leading to William's recovery. This unprecedented reward underscored the gravity of the case and the desperation of the authorities and William's family to find him. Despite this, no concrete leads emerged. Moving on to Pedro Villarin, whose last wish came true when he walked his daughter down the aisle on her wedding day. Sadly, he passed away just 3 days later. Pedro Villarin, a 65-year-old father, battled liver cancer for a year. His last wish was to see his daughter Chloe get married. Despite the challenges, his family made it happen. Originally, the wedding was set for a later date. However, Pedro's condition worsened and he was hospitalized due to extreme pain. Fearing that he wouldn't make it to the planned date, the family moved the wedding up by 2 months. Everyone involved in the wedding, including coordinators and suppliers, supported the family. They arranged for an ambulance and a private nurse to ensure Pedro could attend the ceremony in Manila, Philippines. On the wedding day, Pedro, too weak to walk, was accompanied down the aisle on a wheelchair stretcher. Charlotte held her father's hand as the family pushed the stretcher, making the moment even more emotional. Pedro fulfilled his wish of giving Charlotte away to the bridegroom, Mark Cordova. This was really an emotional moment. My father's wish was to see his daughter married, and we made it come true for him, Charlotte said. It hurt me knowing that he would be leaving us, but I was happy he was there. I'm happy he could see me get married. 3 days after the wedding, Pedro passed away. The newlyweds shared their grief on Facebook, posting a picture of Charlotte with her dad, captioned, "Papu, I love you so much." Moving on to Timothy James Pitson, who vanished mysteriously on April 11, 2011, after a joyful day with his mother, Amy Fry Pitson, who tragically took her own life, leaving behind cryptic clues about his whereabouts. Timothy Pitson, a 6-year-old from Aurora, Illinois, was last seen after a delightful trip with his mother to amusement parks. Amy Fry Pitson's abrupt suicide in a Rockford motel room, accompanied by a note claiming Timothy was safe but would never be found, plunged the family into turmoil. In the aftermath, a series of puzzling events unfolded. Amy made phone calls indicating both her and Timothy's safety, but evaded her husband's attempts to reach them. Surveillance footage captured her alone buying supplies before her tragic demise. Her car, stained with Timothy's blood from a previous nosebleed, hinted at hidden clues near a stream. Despite later false findings and a hoax in 2019, where a man claimed to be Timothy, DNA tests proved otherwise. The case remains unsolved, hauntingly shadowed by unanswered questions about Timothy's fate and the veracity of Amy's cryptic note. But how far would you go to save loved ones trapped deep underground? Saman Kunan, a former Thai Navy SEAL, died while placing air tanks inside the cave where 12 boys had been stranded for nearly 2 weeks. He sacrificed his life to ensure the boys had enough oxygen, highlighting the extreme risks rescuers faced. In June 2018, a group of 12 boys and their soccer coach became trapped in a flooded cave in Thailand. As rescuers worked tirelessly, maintaining air supplies emerged as a top priority. The presence of hundreds of rescue workers inside the cave depleted the air supply, causing oxygen levels to drop to about 15%. Normal oxygen levels are around 21%. This significant drop made the situation even more critical. Saman Kunan, 38, joined the rescue efforts by placing air tanks along the route to the boys. On July 6, 2018, after returning from this task, he lost consciousness due to a lack of air. A diving buddy tried to revive him, but was unsuccessful. His body was later transported to Bangkok for a royal-sponsored funeral. The situation in the cave was dire. Rescuers needed to balance the risks of moving the boys against the dangers of leaving them inside the cave with depleted oxygen levels. The monsoon season added another layer of urgency, as heavy rains threatened to flood the cave further. Rear Admiral Arpakorn Yukonkau, the Thai Navy SEAL commander, stated that many factors had changed and time was running out. How long can people survive with such low oxygen levels? This question haunted the rescuers as they worked around the clock. They released 30 tanks of air to try to restore healthier oxygen levels. Meanwhile, the rescue team drained water from the cave to make the journey less dangerous. Despite the tragedy of Saman Kunan's death, the rescuers remained determined. The Thai cave rescue demonstrated human courage, sacrifice, and determination. The mission ultimately succeeded, saving all 12 boys and their coach. And we are just getting started here. Keep watching till the end, because some of the most shocking stories are yet to come. Heather Mosher, diagnosed with breast cancer on the same day Dave Mosher proposed, faced a challenging journey. Despite chemotherapy and surgeries, they planned their wedding. Originally set for December 30th, doctors advised an earlier date due to Heather's deteriorating health. On December 22, 2017, surrounded by loved ones at St. Francis Hospital in Hartford, Connecticut, Heather, adorned in a wig and a wedding dress, exchanged vows with Dave. She lay on life support, her strength evident as she fulfilled her dream of marrying Dave, her great love. Dave Mosher, 35, who met Heather at a swing dance group, remained steadfast through their trials. When you're with your great love, it's like trying to separate your arm from your body. You can't do it. You're connected. She was my girl, he expressed emotionally. Photographer and friend Christina Karras, a bridesmaid, captured poignant moments. Heather's determination to witness this moment underscored the depth of her love and courage. Tragically, Heather's condition worsened rapidly. Despite her brave fight, she passed away on December 30th, the day originally planned for their wedding. Dave reflected on the surreal experience of saying goodbye instead of exchanging vows. Next, what led to the mysterious disappearance and tragic fate of Dutch students Chris Kremers and Lisanne Froon while hiking in Panama, sparking international intrigue? Chris Kremers and Lisanne Froon, two young Dutch students, embarked on a journey to Panama in March 2014 for a volunteer and cultural exploration trip. On April 1st, they ventured onto the El Pianista Trail near Bourdain, aiming to experience the lush landscapes around the Baru volcano. Their plans took a grim turn when they failed to return from their hike, prompting concerns from locals and their families. The subsequent search efforts, including involvement from Dutch authorities and extensive local support, spanned weeks. Eventually, scattered clues began to emerge. First, their backpack, discovered along the Couleuvre River, followed by fragments of their remains. Despite forensic examinations, including claims of no discernible injuries on the bones, the cause of their deaths remains unsolved. Anthony Bourdain, celebrated for his culinary expertise and fearless storytelling, tragically passed away at the age of 61, found in his hotel room in Strasbourg, France. Bourdain, known for his adventurous spirit and love of global cuisine, was filming an episode of his acclaimed series Parts Unknown when he was discovered unresponsive. His friend, fellow chef Eric Rippert, made the heartbreaking discovery that morning. Famous for his candid memoir Kitchen Confidential and subsequent television shows like A Cook's Tour and No Reservations, Bourdain expanded his creative horizons in 2012 by authoring the graphic novel Get Giro with Joel Rose and Langdon Foss. This venture into comics explored a food-obsessed future Los Angeles where chefs wielded immense power akin to crime lords. Despite his success, Bourdain was open about his personal struggles. He transformed his life upon becoming a father, quitting smoking in 2007. His candidness endeared him to audiences, making him a unique voice in both culinary and literary worlds. Next, Lindsay Stirling faced a pivotal moment after a heartbreaking loss. Following her departure from America's Got Talent in 2010, Stirling launched a successful YouTube channel showcasing her unique musical style. Teaming up with keyboardist Jason Gaviati, she embarked on a flourishing touring career. However, tragedy struck when Gaviati lost his battle with lymphoma in 2016, just before Stirling's Brave Enough tour. Reflecting on the immense personal loss, Stirling described the past year as the hardest of her life. Gaviati wasn't just her bandmate, he was her best friend, having toured the world with her for 4 years. The pain was profound, pushing her towards numbing her emotions. Yet, she chose to confront and channel her grief into her music. Did you know that every year, over 2,000 incidents involving trains and pedestrians occur in the United States alone. In October 2011, tragedy struck in Utah's Spanish Fork Canyon when 3 teenagers, Issa Ricker, Kelsey Webster, and Savannah Webster, lost their lives in a devastating train accident. What began as a playful moment capturing a selfie quickly turned into a harrowing ordeal that would forever change multiple lives. As the girls posed beside the tracks, completely unaware of an oncoming train from the opposite direction, their laughter echoed against the canyon walls. However, upon the Union Pacific locomotive, conductor John Anderson and engineer Michael Anderson spotted the girls and sounded the horn urgently, but their warnings went unnoticed amidst the youthful excitement. Trains, capable of speeds exceeding 55 miles per hour, require a significant distance to stop even in emergency situations. Despite the crew's efforts, tragedy was inevitable. The collision claimed the lives of Issa and Kelsey instantly, while 13-year-old Savannah miraculously survived, albeit with critical injuries. Now with that, we have completed half of the list. So before we continue, make sure to give this video a like and hit that subscribe button for more content like this. Claire Wineland, a social media personality and cystic fibrosis advocate, faced this very dilemma. Diagnosed with cystic fibrosis at birth, Claire spent much of her youth in hospitals, battling the relentless progression of the genetic disease that affects the lungs and other organs. Living with cystic fibrosis meant enduring rigorous daily treatments to maintain symptoms that eventually led to respiratory failure. For years, Claire adamantly opposed the idea of a double lung transplant, preferring to live life on her terms, even if it meant a shorter one. However, as her health deteriorated and her ability to live a fulfilling life became increasingly restricted, Claire had a change of heart earlier this year. Unable to continue her work and passion due to declining health, she faced the stark reality that without new lungs, her time was running out. To qualify for a transplant, Claire underwent a rigorous evaluation process at UC San Diego Health. This assessment ensured she was physically and mentally prepared for the challenges of both the surgery and the post-transplant recovery. After months of uncertainty, Claire received the news that she had been waiting for. She was placed on the transplant list. Yet, just as hope began to shine brightly, complications arose. Claire was diagnosed with fungal infections that threatened her candidacy. Forced to leave her mold-infested apartment and endure a series of health setbacks, Claire's journey to receiving new lungs was fraught with challenges. Despite setbacks, Claire's community rallied behind her. A GoFundMe campaign raised over $237,000 to support her relocation and medical expenses during recovery. This overwhelming support provided Claire with renewed hope and determination as she prepared for the life-changing surgery. Finally, on a Sunday morning, the call came. Donor lungs had been found. With courage and gratitude, Claire underwent nearly 9 hours of surgery, emerging with a chance at a new life. But what happens when a romantic underwater proposal turns tragic, leaving a couple's dreams shattered in an instant? Stephen Weber's heartwarming gesture to propose to his girlfriend, Kenisha Antoine, turned into a devastating tragedy during their holiday at the Manta Resort off Pemba Island, Tanzania. In a surreal and tragic turn of events, Stephen Weber drowned while attempting to propose to Kenisha Antoine underwater at the resort's submerged cabin. The couple, on what they described as a once-in-a-lifetime trip, had booked a 4-night stay in the luxurious underwater room, an experience that costs $1,700 per night and offers breathtaking views of marine life from a depth of about 32 feet. On the 3rd day of their stay, Weber, equipped with a mask and fins, submerged himself into the crystal-clear waters to pop the question. Holding a handwritten note against the cabin's glass window, he expressed his deep love for Antoine, stating, "I can't hold my breath long enough to tell you everything I love about you, but everything I love about you, I love more every day." As Antoine filmed from inside the cabin, Weber turned over the note to reveal the proposal and then presented an engagement ring before swimming out of view. Tragically, Weber never resurfaced. According to Matthew Souse, CEO of the Manta Resort, staff responded swiftly to the incident but were unable to save Weber. The resort confirmed his death, attributing it to a fatal accident while Weber was freediving alone outside the underwater room. In a poignant Facebook post, Antoine mourned Weber's untimely death, recounting how he never got to hear her answer, which would have been a million times yes. She expressed profound sorrow over the abrupt ending of their happiness, turning what should have been the best day of their lives into the worst, unimaginable tragedy. Next, on a stormy December night in 2000, Trevor Deely vanished without a trace after a mysterious encounter in Dublin, leaving behind baffled investigators and a family desperate for answers. Trevor Deely's disappearance on December 8, 2000 remains one of Ireland's enduring mysteries, making 23 years, 6 months, and 16 days since his last known sighting. That fateful night, after leaving a Christmas party in Dublin's nightlife hub, Deely made a stop at his office to retrieve an umbrella and prepare for the next day's work. CCTV footage captured him entering and leaving the building, engaging briefly with a man dressed in black, a figure never identified. As Deely continued his journey home through the howling storm, he passed a bank on Haddington Road where more CCTV footage captured him talking to a man dressed similarly to the one outside his office. Minutes later, Deely was seen walking past another bank, the last image of him recorded before his disappearance. Despite extensive police efforts, including searches of waterways and interviews across continents, no substantial leads have emerged. What happened to Emma Philippoff, the Canadian woman who vanished without a trace on a chilly November evening in Victoria, British Columbia? Emma Philippoff, born on January 6, 1986, disappeared on November 28, 2012 at the age of 26. Last seen near the Empress Hotel, she was observed by Victoria Police and later seen speaking with them, exhibiting signs of distress. Her red 1993 Mazda MPV was found with nearly all her possessions inside, parked at the Chateau Victoria parking lot, including her passport and laptop. Before her disappearance, Philippoff exhibited unusual behavior, such as staying at a women's shelter and making cryptic calls to her mother in Ontario, expressing both a desire to return home and hesitation. On the day she vanished, she purchased a prepaid cell phone and a $200 prepaid credit card, which she attempted to use for a taxi to the airport, but abandoned due to insufficient fare. After a distress call from an acquaintance, police interacted with Philippoff outside the hotel, but deemed her not a threat, releasing her shortly before she vanished from public view. Despite intensive investigations, including over 200 leads and the recovery of her credit card used to buy cigarettes, no substantial clues have emerged about her whereabouts. The Jameson family of Eufaula, Oklahoma, vanished under mysterious circumstances on or after October 8, 2009, leaving behind a perplexing puzzle that remains unsolved to this day. Bobby Jameson, his wife Sherilyn, and their young daughter Madison disappeared after considering buying a 40-acre plot near Red Oak, Oklahoma. Their abandoned pickup truck, discovered days later in Latimer County, contained their IDs, wallets, phones, a GPS system, and a staggering $32,000 in cash, uncharacteristic for the family known not to carry large sums. Surveillance footage from their home showed the Jamesons in a trance-like state, methodically parking their vehicle on the day they disappeared. Sherilyn was seen placing a mysterious brown briefcase inside, which has never been found, along with her handgun. 4 years passed before hunters stumbled upon skeletal remains in a remote area of Latimer County in November 2013, less than 3 miles from where the truck was found. It took forensic testing until July 2014 to confirm the remains as belonging to the Jameson family due to their heavily decomposed state. Despite identification, the cause of death remains undetermined. Numerous theories have surfaced over the years, ranging from the family faking their deaths to being involved in drug-related activities or falling victim to foul play. Bobby Jameson's legal disputes and claims of threats from his father added layers of complexity, though law enforcement ruled out involvement by his father. What drove this guy to attempt a perilous solo kayak journey across the treacherous Tasman Sea, ultimately leading to his presumed death? Andrew Macaulay, an Australian mountaineer and sea kayaker, embarked on a daring quest in February 2007 to kayak approximately 1,600 kilometers from Australia to New Zealand. Known for his previous feats, including the first non-stop kayak crossing of the Bass Strait in 2003, Macaulay was no stranger to extreme challenges. His journey across the Tasman Sea was fraught with difficulties from the start. Macaulay's initial attempt in December 2006 was aborted due to cold temperatures inside the kayak. Undeterred, he set out again on January 11, 2007, equipped with innovative survival gear and a determination to cross the sea. Tragically, on February 12, 2007, Macaulay's partly flooded kayak was discovered just 30 nautical miles short of his destination, Milford Sound. His specially designed fiberglass capsule named Casper, which was crucial for survival in stormy conditions, was missing. It was presumed ripped off by a rogue wave, highlighting the relentless dangers Macaulay faced. Veteran sailor Jonathan Borges, who assisted Macaulay with weather predictions, underscored the hazards Macaulay encountered near New Zealand's dangerous waters, notorious for sudden, powerful rogue waves. Despite Macaulay's preparations and resilience, nature proved formidable. Next, two young engineers faced a tragic fate when they became stranded atop a wind turbine engulfed in flames. On October 29, 2013, tragedy struck at Delta Wind's Piet de Wit wind farm in the Netherlands. During routine maintenance, a fire erupted in the engine room of a towering wind turbine. While two workers managed to escape the inferno, 19-year-old Dan Koos and 21-year-old Arjen Kutis found themselves trapped at a harrowing height of 80 meters, 260 feet above ground. Firefighters faced formidable challenges battling the blaze and rescuing the engineers. Sadly, one engineer was discovered at the turbine's base, circumstances surrounding their descent unclear. Hours later, the second engineer was safely recovered, but the initial embrace, captured in a poignant photograph before the tragedy, stands as a solemn reminder of their bond. On June 3, 1991, volcanologist Harry Glicken took his last photograph while conducting research on Mount Unzen in Japan. Alongside fellow volcanologists Katya and Maurice Kraft, Glicken died in a pyroclastic flow, a deadly avalanche of hot gas and volcanic matter. Their deaths were a significant loss to the scientific community. Glicken's last photo, like Dr. Sharma's, symbolizes a moment of passion and dedication to their fields. Despite his untimely death, Glicken's work in volcanology remains influential. He earned recognition for his research on volcanic debris avalanches, especially from Mount St. Helens. Glicken's dedication was evident in his numerous publications and his commitment to understanding volcanic processes. His 1996 report on debris avalanches, published posthumously, continues to be a critical reference for scientists. But how did this photo, taken by a Danish businessman stuck in traffic, bring solace after years of uncertainty? Gary Box, a firefighter from Brooklyn, perished on September 11, 2001, without a chance to speak to his family. His remains were never recovered, leaving his loved ones with unanswered questions for years. In 2010, while visiting the Tribute Center, Gary's family stumbled upon a photo of a firefighter resembling Gary running toward the World Trade Center along the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel. This sparked a renewed hope in Judson Box, Gary's father, that similar photos might exist. After an exhaustive search through photo archives, Judson's persistence paid off when his wife Helen found a photo the next morning. It captured Gary in action amid stalled cars rushing towards the tower. The discovery led Judson to Eric Trolson, the photographer, who had unknowingly snapped the photo while stuck in traffic on that fateful day. Their emotional reunion at the 9/11 Museum's fundraiser brought closure to Judson, who expressed immense gratitude to Trolson for capturing a cherished memory of his son. At last, what led this German man vacationing at a seaside resort to flee an airport and disappear without a trace? 9 years ago, Lars Mittank vanished under mysterious circumstances near Varna Airport in Bulgaria, sparking intense curiosity and earning him the title of the most famous missing person on YouTube. Lars Mittank, a 28-year-old German national, traveled to Varna, Bulgaria with friends in June 2014 for a relaxing vacation. His trip took a bizarre turn when he got into a fight and suffered injuries, prompting a doctor to advise against flying. Paranoid and fearful, Mittank exhibited erratic behavior at a local hotel, convinced someone was after him. On the day of his scheduled flight home, he visited the airport doctor but abruptly left, leaving all belongings behind. Security footage captured Mittank sprinting toward a forest adjacent to the hospital, where he was last seen. Despite extensive searches and public interest, his disappearance remains unsolved. But if you think that was crazy, then you haven't seen this video on your right-hand side.